And closer to home, the number of unemployed veterans remains stubbornly high. The Wall Street Journal says it's over 10%. Now, Senator Tim Kaine plans to introduce a bill he hopes will help cut that rate. The aim is to make it easier for veterans to transition their military skills to civilian use. Senator Kaine is joining us now to talk about his first bill to be introduced, and we're glad to have you. Thanks you for taking time out in your busy schedule.
Great to come.
We're talking about transferable job skills, but when you think about military skills, you think of specialized training.
Yep.
Talk about how, give us an example, rather,
Absolutely.
of how this might play out in your bill, somebody securing what they need to move their skills from military to civilian life.
So the way I came up with this idea, and it's being talked about a lot now, is during the campaign I would meet somebody who had been a battlefield medic, would leave the military, go to veteran status and say, you know, why don't I be a nurse or a physician's assistant? And they would be told, you get no credit for your military service, go back and take course 1 to get your physician's assistant degree. Somebody who'd operated heavy machinery, go back and get a commercial driver's license. Somebody who was an aviation mechanic, you get no credit for that, go back to school to learn how to maintain aircraft engines. Well, that's what I've been doing for the last 20 years. So I heard that again and again, and it occurred to me, Diane, that in an all-voluntary Army, military, when people leave the military and they go to the workforce, somebody will say to them, we're glad you served, but they won't understand the skills that they have, what technical skills, what leadership training. So if we can take the specialties, the military specialties that people obtain when they're in service, and every time they get a skill, get the civilian credential that matches it, commercial driver's license, physician's assistant degree, welding certificate, get the credential that matches it. Then when they get ready to leave, they're not just bringing in a military rank, they're bringing in a credential that's understood by a civilian workforce. That is the long-term goal. The bill that I have talked about today, called the Troop Talent Act of 2013, would do 3 things. It would first increase information from the employers to the military to service members about what these military specialists are, and in civilian terms, here's the skills somebody has if they've done this job. Second, it would police the way credentials are given out to people and make sure they're credentials that really work in the market, not that somebody's going to get charged to take a test and get a piece of paper that's worthless. And finally, in one field, information technology, it's good for Virginia because we have thousands of jobs in Virginia that are going wanting because we don't have trained information technology folks. And so many people in the military are so skilled in technology.
You seem so excited about this, but what about businesses? I mean, their bottom line concern is competitiveness.
Sure, absolutely.
And making sure that this person, this veteran that they're considering for a position is a good fit for the company and doesn't come with some liabilities or baggage. How do you convince companies that this is a good thing to get involved in?
You do it 2 ways. First, you show them that people have the skills. So this morning I was at Fort Lee. Folks going through the ordnance school there go through, many of them, an 18-week program to learn to do machinists and welding. And they get a certificate from the American Welding Society that is a very valid certificate understood around the country. You first show an employer that somebody's got the skill, and second, if you're in the military, you know, dedication, teamwork, willingness to sacrifice, you know, work ethic, all those things are taught in a very significant way. The employer doesn't have to teach those skills themselves. They've got somebody who's already done it and demonstrated that they'll sacrifice for the good of the greater. And that's exactly the kind of employees people want.
90 days on the job already, and you're already knee-deep in making things, introducing your first new bill, and also with the sequester cuts.
Yeah, the sequester cuts are tough. I mean, in a different way. I was with military members yesterday in Hampton Roads, military family members saying we're seeing...
Do you see that being stopped, though?
I hope. We had a bill in the Senate that had more than 50 votes to stop it completely. The other side chose to filibuster it, so we couldn't get that passed at the end of March. We just passed a Senate budget March 23rd that basically changes the sequester. Instead of across-the-board cuts that make no sense, let's do targeted cuts, let go of programs that we don't need, rather than furloughing, you know, Army hospitals that are treating wounded warriors getting furloughed. It just makes no sense. We ought to do the better version.
Back, Senator. Thank you so much for joining
us. Absolutely,
we appreciate it.